What a better way to experience New Orleans than to visit an old plantation. We got to experience culture and Southern hospitality. Hey guys, today we're at Oak Alley Plantation, and this was a plantation that was built back in the 1800s. And we're going to go through the mansion today and see the enslaved quarters. It's just beautiful. So we're going to take you guys with us. This plantation was called Oak Alley for a reason. The nonprofit was set up in 1976, serving the local community and welcoming visitors from all over the world in this beautiful setting. These trees are amazing. The big house was built in 1836. When we took our tour today, we were not allowed to video or take pictures inside the mansion. And of course, it would pour down rain just as we were getting ready to take our tour of this beautiful mansion. And as I said, we could not take pictures or video inside the mansion, but we could, as we got up on the second level, take them outside. And this is that awesome view called Oak Alley of those beautiful trees from the first level. Wait till you see them from the second level. Those awesome trees are all historically registered, and they all have names. And here's that view from the second level. We were told at one time before the levee you could look out and see boats going up and down the river. These trees acted as a funnel, funneling in air from the river into the mansion.
It will funnel air from the river into the mansion. Now, these trees are included in a historical oak society. They're named. On the right is Jean, the left is Selena. Also on the left, the ninth tree down, the largest tree here, named after our last owner, Miss Josephine Stewart. She established the foundation. She set aside 25 acres of land where the house sits, where the trees are located. The rest of the property is privately owned. Same family members of ours who run the foundation. Also interesting to note, when the Stewarts were here, they did not grow sugar cane. Miss Josephine was born and raised on a cattle ranch in Texas. Armstrong Cattle Ranch, which is adjacent to the King Ranch in Texas. She and her husband purchased the property not for profit of the sugar cane. This was a retirement venture. A breed of cattle from Texas delivered here. The Santa Cruz cattle allowed to graze.
This view almost didn't even look real. It was just so picturesque. Andrew and Josephine Stewart had no children, but Josephine was an avid gardener and designed these gardens. At one time on the property, there were two buildings, a kitchen and a carriage house. Those two buildings no longer stand on the property. They were torn down. We could have literally spent all day sitting up here looking at that view. They had a little store set up on the porch where you could buy souvenirs. They had souvenir glasses that you could get drinks in. We bought a historic guide from there. Just down from the main house was the enslaved quarters. Now these were replications, but the actual slave quarters were located right here, which was unusual because normally they don't want enslaved quarters so close to the main house. But the owner wanted them in between the main house and the sugar plantation. Back then, there were 20 of these double homes located right here, and we were told that they were whitewashed because it made them look cleaner. Looking inside these replicated enslaved quarters gave you quite an insight of what it was like to be enslaved on a plantation. They had shackles and other things on display, as well as tools that the enslaved people would have used working on the plantation. After the emancipation, the former slaves then were able to have outhouses outside their quarters. These were pictures of the original enslaved quarters here on the property. It was along this stretch in this very location that 20 of the original houses once stood. After the emancipation, some of the enslaved people ran away, while others stayed on the plantation and were paid a wage. And they had it set up so nicely to honor all of those enslaved people who helped build this plantation, and they had their names all written down, which was a great way to honor them. This plantation started out as a sugarcane plantation. And then they had cattle, and then even later they had a lot of chickens. The last owners had no children, so they wanted to make sure that the history of this place lived on. And the exhibits they have here are so amazing. We don't want to forget the past. We want to learn from the past. And this was a great way to learn about how things used to be done. So they set up the nonprofit foundation and put the main home and 63 acres in so that the history could be preserved for future generations. This building is one of the oldest on the property, and not much is known about it at this time, but they are currently studying this building to learn about its history. How would you like to do laundry in this big kettle? Just seeing this stuff that is original to the property was so very interesting. The enslaved people had a doctor and a sick house because they wanted to keep their servants healthy. Some of the enslaved people worked the plantation, while others helped in the main house, helped take care of children, and helped cook. There's a bed and breakfast where you can stay on the property. There's also a nice little restaurant where we had lunch. In the restaurant, there was all kinds of artwork and beautiful photographs of the gorgeous Oak Alley Plantation. Here, I'm looking at the historical guide that we bought. We started off with spinach artichoke dip, which was out of this world delicious. Then, for the main entree, I got the sausage and chicken gumbo. It was so good. Their gumbo was a little spicy, but good. And Keith got the seafood gumbo, which his was a little spicy as well, but it was so good. And they had a nice little general store where you could go and just get ice cream or little snacks. If you didn't want to go for a sit-down lunch like we had, you could go in and grab something and sit and eat and then go through their gift shop. They had a lot of good souvenirs there that were great reminders of how beautiful Oak Alley Plantation is. On the way there and back, we saw these beautiful sugarcane fields. That's something you don't see in Indiana where we live. If you'd like to see more of our trip to New Orleans, click the playlist that just popped up on your screen.